What's good? It's your boy Fanon. Good morning to the subscribers. Thank you for attending another or watching another video. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos and we do more live streams. Now, subject of this video this morning is going to be Mikey Garcia versus Errol Spence Jr. As we know, Mikey Garcia has been calling for an Errol Spence Jr. fight. Mikey Garcia is currently the WBC and IBF lightweight champion. Just came off beating in a very entertaining fight, but a one-sided win against Robert Easter. He wants to move up and fight the IBF champion, Errol Spence Jr., who has, 10, 12 straight knockouts at 147 pounds, and is by many people, this commentator included, the top welterweight in the world at the moment. And in the lead up, during the whole time that Mikey Garcia has been calling out Errol Spence Jr., there's been one person or two people that have sounded as if they didn't want this fight to happen. That being Robert Garcia and Robert Garcia's father. Forgive me for not remembering the name of Robert Garcia's father. It might be Robert Garcia Sr., but Robert Garcia's father, who was a trainer of Fernando Vargas, the trainer of Robert Garcia himself, and the early training and teacher of Mikey Garcia, I'm sure. Then, so I was like, a lot of people keep talking about how Robert Garcia doesn't want to fight, how Robert Garcia would rather have him fight Lomachenko or fight somebody else. And then I got an email this morning by a subscriber, and shout out to that subscriber. I really do appreciate when people send me emails and ask questions. My man's name is Abdi Muhammad. Shout out to Abdi Muhammad for sending me the email. And he gave me a link to a video that was done by ES News with Ellie Sethback. Shout out to ESN News and Ellie Sethback. They do very good, consistent work. Where Ellie Sethback was asking Robert Garcia who he wanted to fight, who he wanted Mikey Garcia to fight next. And as a result of his answer, I came to the conclusion that Robert Garcia is trolling. And that Robert Garcia knows perfectly well and probably doesn't mind at all Mikey Garcia fighting Errol Spence Jr. Because he said, Ellie Sethback is asking him, and I'm going to talk about this briefly, then I'm going to tell you what I think about this fight and what this means as far as, my opinion on how this fight might play out. Robert Garcia said, he really wants to see him fight Richard Comey because he can make a lot of money fighting Richard Comey, and then Richard Comey is the IBF mandatory for Mikey Garcia, so therefore he has to fight him. And right then and there, I changed my mind about what I believed Robert Garcia thought about the fight. Robert Garcia was full of it when he said that. First of all, there's no reason to believe that he's going to make a ton of money fighting Richard Comey. I'm sure he'll make good money. He'll make the same money that he made for, say, Sergey Lipinets. Might make the same amount of money he made for Robert Easter. But just looking at his face and the way that he said that, he didn't mean that. He was just trolling Ellie Sethback, acting confused. And then he said that he has to take the fight because it's the IBF. It's a mandatory. You got to do it, right? You got to do it. No, you don't have to do it. And we would know full well that you don't have to do that. You can ask for an exception to a mandatory defense. Easy. With the IBF, with the WBO, with the WBC, with the WBA, especially if you're going to go up and try to fight for the IBF, the same title, the IBF title up at 147 pounds, because Errol Spence Jr. is the 147-pound IBF champion. So those two things, along with just the bad acting that Robert R. Garcia was displaying in that video, leads me to believe that he doesn't expect Mikey Garcia to fight Richard Comey, and more than likely, he's just saying and feeding into the public's fear about whether or not Mikey Garcia can fight Errol Spence Jr. And I don't want to give him. I don't want to accuse him of being so strategic as to think he would be doing that, just taking the stance that he's taken publicly, just to maybe soften or give Errol Spence Jr. and Errol Spence Jr.'s team a false sense of security in their mind, and just that little bit of a psychological edge where if Errol Spence and Errol Spence trainer believe that the trainer, Robert Garcia, and his father, that these guys really don't want that bout, that might that might make them relax a little bit or get overconfident and just think, hey man, even this guy's trainer doesn't really want him, and then lead him to do something that otherwise he wouldn't do if he was taking Mikey Garcia 100% seriously, and therefore that give them a bit of a competitive edge in the fight. Now, I have a feeling that that's the case, but perhaps it's not. As I look at this fight and I think of this fight between Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence, of course I favor Errol Spence Jr. Because of his style. He come forward. He has a nice jab, southpaw, knows how to cut out the ring, has a vicious body attack, is much bigger, much stronger than Mikey Garcia from what I can see. And I definitely favor Errol Spence Jr. in this fight. The thing that I want to put out there, though, is that I think that comparing these two fights that have happened in the past, where a very good lightweight goes up and fights a very good welterweight. And actually, Errol Spence Jr. might be considered could be a good middleweight. I think he's that big a guy. But in that general weight classes, the comparison between the weight classes, I would say that this is looking something like not style for style exactly, but it could either be a Roberto Duran, Thomas Hearns type of fight, or it could be a Roberto Duran, Marvelous Marvin Hagler type of fight. In both fights, Duran lost. In one fight, Duran got obliterated, and in the other fight, Duran, having fought an older Marvin Hagler, made a good fight out of it, but lost convincingly, and it didn't tarnish his Roberto Duran's career, because Roberto Duran was fighting a legendary Hall of Fame level middleweight in Marvelous Marvin Hagler. But it was still a convincing loss. So either way it goes, but they were both good fights. And they were fights that the audience that I enjoyed watching, and that other people who watched the fight enjoyed watching. And you can still to this day go check it out on YouTube or wherever you can get a copy of those fights and enjoy it. Now the fight between Thomas Hearns and Roberto Duran, or it could be some type of combination between the two, because I don't know if Errol Spence really has that, if he has that just one punch, lay you out type of power, and that Thomas Hearns has. So it might be some combination of the two, but I think that it will be a good and entertaining fight. Of course, I'm on record. I won't belabor the point too much, saying that I would rather have Mikey Garcia unify at 100 35 pounds and actually become the one and only 135-pound champion. Whether or not that is something that's practical in the next year and a half, I don't know. Because even though I do want Mikey Garcia to call for the fight and call for Lomachenko, then, it doesn't mean that, some type of contractual hurdles might not take place with Top Rank. Because, I do acknowledge that Bob Arum is Bob Arum. And I would definitely like to see Errol Spence Jr. Fight the winner of Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, who I believe is going to be Danny Garcia, and then unify the 147 pounds. And then if either Errol Spence Jr. moves up to fight Canelo Alvarez or Mikey Garcia can move up to face him, or one then the other. I would take either one of those. But, it is what it is, and we'll see what's happening. But, I just wanted to just put on record that as far as there's a lot of people that don't think Mikey Garcia is going to be serious about this bout. Oh, that Mikey Garcia is serious about the bout, but his family really is afraid of Errol Spence. That might be true, but from what I saw in Robert Garcia today in that interview he did on ESN, I think the dude was trolling. And I think he might be trying to lull Errol Spence into a false sense of security because they think they see something in him. But, it is what it is, and we'll see how all this stuff plays out. And with that, I'm out. Peace.